Hey everybody. Hey, my name's Rick. I'm wanted to come to you this week and talk to you a little more about the life of Joseph, and in particular about being a dreamer. This Sunday, we're going at Praise Fellowship. We're going through the whole Bible. We're going through the story, as you can see up here is the background, and it's a tremendous thing. The one thing that happens though is because I have to cover such a large chunk of Scripture in 1 week, there's so many things I can't teach. So I thought, you know what? I ought to just take a few minutes each week and kind of just share some things that I couldn't share on Sunday morning that hopefully will encourage you. So I just wanted to share you a principle of catching a vision from God, of pursuing it, of believing God for big things, and hopefully you'll learn some things from this, and it'll help you. We talked on Sunday about getting God-sized dreams, getting big dreams, and that's what God calls us to. God is a God who thinks big. He's a big God, and he wants his kids to think big and believe him for huge things, way bigger than we can imagine. So the story of Joseph, of course, is one of those. You know that the story of Joseph in the Old Testament, particularly Genesis 37, was started with key word here, verse 5 of chapter 37, Joseph had a dream. Now, the fact that he had a dream shaped his entire life. This is what he held on to through all the difficult times. Joseph went through many difficult times. He was thrown into a pit. He was thrown into prison. He was abandoned in prison. I mean, he had some rough times and actually had many rough years. But he had a dream. His dream was, and it was from God, his dream was that his family would basically bow down before him. That's a strange dream, but it was one that God spoke to him. And so we were teaching this on Sunday, and I told people, I said, you know, one of the things that dreamers need is dreamers need encouragement. And I said dreamers will basically quit dreaming if they're left alone. And so I said, hey, let's just have a meeting. So I just said, tomorrow night, come on out and we'll have a meeting. And so it came, and all these people came out. It was like 60 or 70 people came out, and every one of them had visions from God and things they wanted to do, goals from God, big things that they wanted to do. And we sat around and we shared them and we encouraged each other. And the level of faith was high. And I really think that some tremendous things will come out of this, whatever we call it, this little dreamer club that we've got going on. But one thing that's important to remember, I want you to do this as you're thinking here. God's placed some things in your heart, maybe for years. They maybe were there as a little kid, things that you wanted to do, a passion that he gave you. And as you catch hold of a dream from God, remember 3 key things about it. We need to get the what is the dream. That comes from God. It's inside of us. He gives us desires and gives us, we can see things and we can believe for things and things we want. And so it's the what of the dream. That is really key. Get hold of the what of the dream. Joseph got hold of the what of the dream. He knew that he was going to be in some position of authority, and even his family was going to come before him, as well as even larger than that. And so Joseph understood clearly the what of the dream. Now, the next 2 things about the dream are where we get tripped up, and they are, how is it going to work, and when is it going to happen? You see, the how a dream is going to work, we don't necessarily know. Joseph, in his life, he had the dream, and if you were to ask him at age 17 when he had this dream, and you said, okay, Joseph, how is this going to work? How is this going to happen? How is this going to play out? He would not know. Anything he told you would have been wrong, because the how that came out, sometimes we even call it strategies, the how played out very poorly. He wouldn't have wanted that in the how. It came out, my gosh, he went to He went thrown into a pit. He was thrown into prison. He was betrayed. He was left and abandoned. All of those things. The how, I mean, he was catapulted to the top position that a normal person could ever go to, the prime minister of the most powerful nation in the world. He was that person. That's where he went. How he got there was whoa. When you are a dreamer, you don't necessarily know the how. Don't get caught up in the how. One of the things that happens is when you share your dream with people, they immediately start to ask you the how. Well, how is this going to happen? How could you do it? Where are you going to get the money? Where are you going to find the people? Where are you going to... I don't know. I don't know where all this is coming from, but I know what the dream is. And don't focus on the how. You'll get to the how. The how will happen. God will start giving you strategies. He'll start putting people around you that are part of a strategy team, that are part of a visionary team that are going to get hold of the practical side. So he'll deal with the how, but don't do the how before you get the what. And the other thing about a dream that's really important is the when. We don't necessarily know when God's going to fulfill his promises. We never do. The scripture is full of promises, and before they happened, people didn't know when they were going to happen. Most people who have a promise from God think it's going to happen soon. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it waits a long time. The when is up to God. The when is truly up to him. Joseph was 17 when he had the dream. He spent 13 years in a type of not fulfilling the dream. 13 years in a type of prison, a type of being stymied, a type of working for somebody else. And finally, at age 30 is when he became prime minister. But it wasn't for 7 years after that, during the bumper crop, he was the prime minister. And then it was, I think, a couple years after that that his brothers came to him. So he really waited, 17 to 39. He waited about 22 years. And actually, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I think that's right. You can check me out in Scripture. But he waited 22 years to really see it fulfilled. 13 of those years were all bad. And then the next years weren't bad, but he still hadn't seen the dream fulfilled. He wouldn't have known when the when was going to be. Don't get caught up in the when. And here, let me say this to you also. If it seems like it's been too long and a dream you've had for years has not yet happened, don't give up. It might be right around the corner. Or it still might be sometime, but don't quit. Don't give up. You might be in a really difficult time. Don't quit. And so as you're dreaming, get the what. Get it from God. Let it be unshakable in your heart. Things that you're convinced that he wants to do. They're within the will of God. They're in Scripture. They're confirmed in your spirit. God puts them on your heart. You know it. You absolutely know what the dream is. He'll begin to show you how it will happen. He'll use your life circumstances. He'll use other people around you. He'll use your intellect. He'll use your skills. He'll use all of that to show you the how, and then the when will come. It will happen. It absolutely will. If it's of God, it will happen. And so I just want to encourage all you dreamers out there, don't give up. Get a hold of the what. Allow him room to form the how it will happen, and then don't get so hung up on the when. Just keep believing. Faith believes even when things don't happen. Listen, I may throw a few of these up over the weeks just because I want to encourage you. But thanks for showing up and tuning in. I guess we would call this PFTV. And this next week we are in the 4th chapter of the book, The Story. Read that. We're going to talk about Moses, and in particular, we're going to focus on the heart of God to free people. God bless you. Love you. Have an awesome day.